The Unteachables by Gordon Corman. Chapter 15. Matteo Hendrickson. The whole class gets suspended for the rest of Spirit Week. If that doesn't sound like a bad punishment, remember that your parents need to rearrange their work schedules so you're not left completely alone. I can't speak for the others, but my folks are pretty mad. It's no big deal, I tell my father. Sci-Fi is running a Battlestar Galactica marathon this week. That should keep me busy until at least Thursday. Dad is like Zeus from Percy Jackson. No thunderbolts, but when he's in a bad mood, you definitely want to stay clear of Olympus. If you think this is a vacation, mister, you're sadly mistaken. You're going to sit in your room and reflect on how it's wrong to steal. It wasn't stealing, I insist. Stealing is the great train robbery. This is the Grinch. Better than the Grinch. The Grinch tried to steal Christmas, but he couldn't. We really couldn't steal Spirit Week. You stole it from yourselves, he retorts. Everyone else gets to enjoy it. We were already banned before we were suspended. Besides, Mr. Kermit's right. It's dumb to have Spirit because it's on the calendar or because people are blowing horns in your ear. He frowns. Mr. Kermit, I don't like what I'm hearing about that guy. Mr. Kermit's a good teacher, I argue. At least he could be if he ever teaches anything. Look at Yoda. He may be a puppet with bad grammar, but he's also the greatest teacher in the galaxy. In fact, I might have to switch Mr. Kermit from the Grinch to Yoda, just like I'm going to have to switch Barnstorm from the Flash to Aquaman because he's an amazing swimmer, even with a bad knee and a foot that's been stomped on by Elaine. Come to think of it, if we're all suspended, does Mr. Kermit still have to go to school? There's nobody there for him to teach. Actually, I think he might like that. But it's possible that he's suspended too. Dr. Thaddeus seems really mad at him. Nah, Ribbit's not suspended, Parker tells me when I run into him on a delivery to the farmer's market. His car's been in the parking lot all week. How would you know that, I ask. Whenever I'm near the school on business, I look around a little. Business, I echo. Farm business. I've got potatoes for Foodland, cantaloupes for the truck stop, and rutabagas for local table. Dad says they pay the most because they can't bring in produce from more than 20 miles away. By the time we get back to school the next Monday, Spirit Week is over, and there isn't a vuvuzela in sight. Otherwise, everything is the same, except for room 117. In fact, the place looks so different that when I walk in, I actually step back into the hall to check the number on the door. No, it's 117 all right, and the other SCS 8 kids are taking their seats as usual, but we're all looking around in wonder. There's a huge map of the world on the back wall, next to star charts from the northern and southern hemispheres. At the front, there are bulletin boards for math, science, English, and social studies. There's a rolling cart of laptop computers. There are books on the bookshelves. The empty supply closet isn't empty anymore. Through the open door, we can see stacks of paper, pencils, scissors, and art supplies. Another thing that's different, Mr. Kermit is already here. He's at the science board pinning up a large periodic table of elements. It throws some of us because when the teacher makes his usual entrance 10 minutes after the bell, that's our signal to start ribbiting. Sure, there are a few ribbits, but they seem random and half-hearted. Kiana speaks up. Mr. Kermit? Oh, he turns away from the board as if noticing us for the first time. Good, everybody's here. Before we get started, I want to say something about last Monday down at the river. I know you were only trying to help, so let's chalk it up to temporary insanity. And, thanks. But next time, not that there will be a next time, well, please find someone else to help. But Mr. K, Parker interjects, waving his arms to take in the transformed classroom. What gives? Mr. Kermit looked uncomfortable. Well, last week I had some spare time since all my students were absent, so I did some redecorating. An uneasy murmur buzzes through room 117. It's hard to put my finger on it, but it comes from the fact that this redecoration smells an awful lot like school. It isn't a big problem for me. I'm okay with the school side of things, but I don't like change. And for sure, this isn't the ribbit we're used to. Where did all this come from? The moment the doors flung open and Miss Fountain breezes in beaming. What do you think, everybody? Isn't it awesome? I forgot to mention, Mr. Kermit adds, Miss Fountain helped a lot, so we owe her a big thank you. Nobody utters a sound. Our teacher shuffles uncomfortably. Well, Miss Fountain, I'm sure you're in a rush to get back to your students. Miss Fountain is looking around in growing concern. But where is it? Mr. Kermit seems flustered. Well, there wasn't much space, and in resignation he walks to the storage closet and opens the door the rest of the way. On the inside is a chart with all our names in a column. At the top is written, Good Bunnies. Miss Fountain's brow furrows. This isn't going to work. It has to hang in a place where everybody can see it. She pulls the poster from the door and rehangs it on the front wall right behind the teacher's desk. Much better. I raise my hand. What are good bunnies? You are, she explained. You're the good bunnies. Every time you're a helpful hare, like when you do a good deed or get a good grade, you earn one puffy tail. When your line of puffy tails reaches the basket of carrots, you get a reward. I don't like carrots, Barnstorm complains. It could be a treat or maybe even a pizza party with a cake. A carrot cake? Barnstorm asks suspiciously. The carrots are just as simple. Here, I'll get you started. From a baggie attached to the bottom of the poster, she removes 7 Velcro-tipped cotton balls and pins one to the first slot beside each of your names. For some reason, I feel like I've accomplished something, even though the week has barely started. Aldo lets out a loud raspberry. This is stupid. What are we, 5? I'm not wasting my time collecting rabbit butts. Mr. Kermit is annoyed. All right, smart guy, you just cost yourself 1. His face twists, puffy tail. He pulls off the Velcro sticker and puts it back in the bag. No fair, grumbles Aldo. Miss Fountain is just about to go back to her own class when there's a knock at the door, and this new guy walks in. He's an adult, but not one of the teachers, and he looks really familiar, but I can't place him for sure. I've seen him before. Mr. Kermit knows him, that's for sure. Our teacher has gone white to the ears like he's staring into the great pit of Carcoon from Return of the Jedi. The newcomer says, I don't know if you remember me, Mr. Kermit. As soon as I hear the voice, I recognize him. Barnstorm beats me to the punch. Dude, you're Jake Terranova.